Hi everyone, this is a quick review of Chapter 2 for Tesol Methods. The chapter focuses on learner-centered teaching, and it's pretty easy to understand. I will put up this activity. Let's see if I have it here. And the activity shows this graphic with paper clips. And if you have a teacher-centered class right here, your teacher's in the front of the class and he or she is in charge delivering the information. The class is very organized. Students are in the rows. They're listening. They're taking notes. And the teacher's really in control of the learning process. Here in learner-centered teaching, we have the teachers in the middle. And the students are in these small groups and they're working and they're chatting and they're really talking about the activity. They're talking about the subject, and the teacher just kind of moves around and facilitates. We know that in teaching English language learners that this learner-centered or student-centered model is much more effective for students because they get to work together with their peers. They build their knowledge together. They're interactive. They're more comfortable asking questions. Where here, they're basically just listening to what the teacher delivers. The teacher's in complete control. There's pros and cons with each type of classroom. And on this form you see right here, it's going to talk a little bit about the pros and cons of teacher-centered versus student-centered or learner-centered classroom. So I want to make sure that you are comfortable with all of that. And this is what the textbook really talks about. The idea that we really should move into learner-centered teaching. Not all the time, but most of the time we really want that approach. So just quickly, a few key parts of this textbook chapter. Talks a little bit, it gives you an example. You can read all about that and tells you what learner-centered is. And then it does talk about the types of English language learners that you will see in your classroom. There are 4 types of students that come into our classroom, and I think it's over here, that we have the newcomers, and these are students that come right away, and that they've had good schooling in their home language, and they come in and they're at the right academic level. We also have newcomers who have come in with limited or interrupted formal schooling. This is our SIFEs, students with interrupted formal education. And again, they may be older than what their academic knowledge really is. We have long-term English learners. They've been in our program for many years and still haven't really, don't have that command of English yet. And then we have students who are at risk for becoming long-term English learners. These students usually don't have the support at home in order to really learn the language. So they become, they're at risk. We try to identify them. So we really are better prepared to give them what they're lacking at home. So make sure you get familiar with this. And then it talks about these 4 types of students in the chapter. So make sure you're familiar with those. I think it gives examples. Okay. Long-term learners, at risk of becoming a long-term learner, language proficient of emergent bilinguals. Remember, our English language proficiency levels are a little bit different for New York State. But you know those. I know I already have them posted. Here, make sure you read these little charts, and now finally we get to learner-centered teaching. It talks about the advantages, and it gives a few examples, what we can do in the classroom. Here are a couple activities. So this is kind of interesting, and I think positive, negative graph. Okay, right. And that's about it. So you have an idea of what learner-centered teaching is, the idea that students are working in smaller groups, that they're working together to create this knowledge, that it's more engaging for them, it's more interesting, therefore they're really in that zone of proximal development, versus teacher-centered where it's real quiet and they're in rows and they're not interactive and they're just really listening and taking notes. So make sure you have a pretty good grasp of that. Read your conclusion and, of course, the key components of learner-centered teaching. And from this point forward, your lesson plans really should incorporate that idea that we are looking at a learner-centered classroom. Okay, that's it. That's Chapter 2 in a nutshell. We'll see you soon. Bye-bye.